Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Dear students, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to the program. If we recall our previous program, so we were discussing about the structure and function of biological molecule, and we covered the topic of carbohydrate, lipids, and about the structural aspect of proteins. We discussed about the proteins, that these are the nitrogenous organic compound made up of basic building units which are called as amino acids, and these amino acids are linked together to form peptide bonds to make a long chain called as polypeptide chain. This chain is going to fold and take the different shapes. I emphasized in the last program that limitless variety of proteins they are possible, and we are different from each other due to our proteins. So different shapes of proteins are also there. So basically the structure of protein which is made, the primary structure, the straight chain, considering the number of amino acid in a specific protein and sequence of amino acid, that is called as primary structure of protein. And if the coiling of a chain for the requirement of the specific function is going to occur, so this is the secondary structure mainly involving the hydrogen bonds, alpha helical, beta helical, and the triple helical structure we discussed. And if a single polypeptide chain is going to roll about to take a compact globular shape, this is called as tertiary structure. And if more than two polypeptide chain, 3, 4, 5, if they are going to roll about to give us a compact globular structure, that is called as quaternary structure of proteins. So starting our discussion from this point onward, looking at some of the animation and slides of structure followed by the functions of protein. Going to the slides. This is the structure of protein which is being shown, and if you are going to look at, this is the primary structure, the sequence and number of amino acids. And if the coiling of chain is there due to hydrogen bonds, so this is the secondary structure of protein. And if due to ionic bond, hydrophobic interactions, so there is a compact globular shape of a single protein, single polypeptide, so this is the tertiary structure. And if more than two polypeptides, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so they are there, then this is the quaternary structure of protein. Looking the same in the animated form, this is a polypeptide chain made up of amino acid residues, and these amino acids are linked by peptide bonds. So these are the peptide bonds, and these are the amino acids which are linked in the form of this chain, a polypeptide chain. So this is the primary structure, and this is determined basically by the DNA inside the nucleus, that what should be the number and sequence of amino acid. If coiling of chain is there, if the single chain is going to coil in the form of extended spiral spring, this is called as alpha helical structure. And if the two chains running parallel to each other are attracted by these hydrogen bonds, this is called as beta helical structure. Both of these are the categories of secondary structure of proteins. Tertiary structure, so if the coiling of the chain is there to take a form of a compact globular shape, so this is the tertiary structure involving only a single polypeptide chain. This was a single polypeptide chain, and if more than one chain, two chains, so they are going to have this compact globular structure. This is called as quaternary structure of protein. Hemoglobin is made up of two alpha chain made up of 1,4,1 amino acid each, two beta chain made up of 1,4,6 amino acid each. Out of that 574 amino acid, if only one, that is in beta chain, valine replaced by glutamic acid, resulting in a abnormal hemoglobin molecule, that is called as sickle cell hemoglobin molecule. So hemoglobin is an example of quaternary structure of protein, because the four polypeptide chain, they are linked together, carrying a very important function of transport of oxygen. Going with the functional aspect of proteins, the word protein is derived from a Greek word proteus, which means that I occupy first place. So these proteins, they are of prime importance in the living organisms, and looking at some of the roles of protein and then elaborating these roles. Functions of proteins involve the structural role of proteins, that is the tendons, cartilage, hairs are having the collagen, one of the very important proteins. Enzymatic role of protein, for your BS level we can say almost all the enzymes, they are protein in nature, but at the postgraduate level some exceptions are there. Hormonal role of proteins, so many hormones with the exception of few hormones, they are protein in nature. Transportive role of proteins, we discussed about the role of hemoglobin. Protective role of protein with respect to our immune system. Contractile role of protein with respect to the muscles, and storage or role of proteins in the form of milk and egg. Proteins are very vital organic compounds. So they are found in the basic structure, like collagen is found in the tendon, ligament, joints. Keratin, another important protein having alpha helical structure, is found in the hair, nails, horns and hoofs of animals. And at the top of that, every cell in your body that is having cell membrane, and we have gone, cell membrane is made up of bimolecular phospholipid layer, proteins dotted here and there in an irregular format. So structural role of protein in the cell membrane. Enzymatic role, so all our chemical reactions occurring in our body, they are controlling all our activities, and all chemical reactions, they are controlled by enzyme. So indirectly these are the proteins which are controlling all our metabolic activities. Hormonal roles, so with the exception of two major categories, that is the adrenocortical hormones secreted from the adrenal cortex, and sex hormones, that is the testosterone in males, estrogen, progesterone in female. With the exception of these hormones, all other hormones, they are protein in nature, like insulin, glucagon, thyroxine, all of these are protein in nature. Then our muscles, body muscles, they are made up of actin and myosin filaments, which are protein in nature. So contractile role of protein with respect to contraction of muscle. And another very important protective role, so you are familiar with the term of antigen. What the antigen is? Any foreign particles. It may be carbohydrate, proteins or lipids. But antibodies which are made in response to these antigen by our immune system, all antibodies, they are protein in nature. So they are protecting us from the various infectious microorganisms. Another protective role in the plasma protein, in our blood plasma, so there are albumin, globulin, fibrinogens are there. Fibrinogen is converted into fibrin threads, the insoluble form of fibrin threads, which is going to clot, which is making a clot from a bleeding surface. So that is again a protective role of proteins. Transportive role of protein, the hemoglobin is going to transport, one molecule of hemoglobin is going to transport 4 molecules of oxygen or 8 atoms of oxygen from our lungs to each and every cell. That is, oxygen is provided for aerobic respiration to generate energy in the factories of mitochondria. Storage role of proteins, so not significant one, but just at the site where the initial development of embryo or seed is expected, or initial nourishment of our embryos are required. So only in the milk in the form of casein, and in the egg in the form of ova albumin, the storage of this protein is there. In the last, we can also say that protein can also be used as energy source, but they are not prime source for energy. Prime source for energy, they are carbohydrate, followed by lipids, and in case of emergency situation, proteins can also be converted into carbohydrate to provide us energy. So these were some important role of proteins in the living organisms. Starting with our last biological molecule, that is nucleic acids. I placed this first slide of nucleic acid with the picture of the sperm. Why? So you must have read in the books that these are first discovered in the nucleus of the sperm and they are acidic in nature, so that is why they are called as nucleic acids. Basically these nucleic acids, they are made up of carbon, hydrogen and oxygen with nitrogen and sometimes phosphorus also. Rather, most of the basic building units, they are having the phosphorus. Monomers are given the names of nucleotides, polymers are given the name of nucleic acid, and most of these are generally water soluble. Two varieties of nucleic acids are there: DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid, and RNA, ribonucleic acid. And both of these are specialized for the storage, transmission and use of genetic informations. This is the basic building unit of a nucleic acid, the nucleotide, which is made up of three components: a 5 carbon sugar, one of the nitrogen containing base, and the phosphate is attached at the other end. So this is another representation: a pentose sugar, 5 carbon sugar, a nitrogen containing base, and the phosphoric acid is attached to that. The pentose sugars, they are of two varieties, ribose and deoxyribose. This is just this oxygen at carbon 2. If this is removed, then ribose is converted into deoxyribose and the rest of the structure, it remains the same. Ribose is a pentose sugar in the nucleotides which are going to make RNA, while the deoxyribose is one of the pentose sugar which in the nucleotide which are going to make DNA. The nitrogen containing bases, they are 5 in numbers and grouped into two categories: purines, which are double ring structure, a 6-membered ring and a 5-membered ring, 6 and 5, and these are adenine and guanine. Pyrimidines, they are smaller in size, made up of only one 6-membered ring, and they are 3 in number: cytosine, which is common in both DNA and RNA, while the thymine is present only in DNA, and instead of thymine in RNA, this is the uracil which is present. So basically, this is a basic building unit. This is the sugar, ribose or deoxyribose. These are the bases: purines, that is the adenine or guanine; pyrimidines, that is thymine, uracil and cytosine, and this is the third component, that is the phosphoric acid. Basically, the nitrogenous base adenine is having a complementary shape with thymine as well as with uracil, while the guanine is having the shape complementary to the cytosine. So cytosine can fit or it can be attracted by hydrogen bonds with guanine, while the adenine with thymine or with the uracil. ATP is again a category of nucleotide. It is having a pentose sugar ribose attached with one of the nitrogen containing base adenine, and the 3 phosphate groups, they are attached. And this is the phosphate, once it is going to break, that is going to release energy, and ATP is converted into ADP. So energy currency of cell, ATP, is an example of one of the nucleotide. Nucleic acids, they are polynucleotide chain. So this is not a single nucleotide, these are many nucleotides. So first, this nucleotide is having the 2 of the condensation reaction, one with the nitrogenous base, this of the pentose sugar, and second with phosphate. That is why they are said to be have phosphodiesterase linkage. And then another linkage is produced between the phosphoric acid, OH of this phosphorus, with the OH of this carbon 3, and all of these nucleotide, they are linked together to give us a polynucleotide chain. Polynucleotide chain. Looking at the base pairing in DNA, so thymine is going to bind with the adenine with the 3 hydrogen bond, while the cytosine is going to combine with the guanine with the 3 hydrogen bond. Guanine, okay, again going to do it again. Looking at the base pairing in DNA, so thymine is going to combine with adenine with the 2 hydrogen bonds, and cytosine with guanine with the 3 hydrogen bonds, and this is the anti-parallel arrangement of the 2 polynucleotide chain in the structure of DNA. So one strand is running in downward direction, another strand is going to run in upward direction. Looking at the complementary base, adenine must pair with thymine, guanine must pair with cytosine. Their amounts in a given DNA molecule will be equal all the times. So this is the adenine with thymine and guanine with cytosine. Structure of DNA, basically this is resembling with a ladder, and this ladder is going to have 2 uprights, and these are the rungs of these ladders, and this is not a simple ladder, it is twisted to form a double helical structure. So this is the twisting of this double helical structure having the analogy of a ladder. So these uprights or legs of ladder, they are made up of sugar phosphate backbone, and these rungs, they are made up of nitrogenous bases. So this is the double helical structure with complementary base pairing of the 2 parallel chain of DNA molecules. Again, this is the artistic impression, and this is the actual structure of DNA molecules, the double helical structure with complementary base pairing. RNA nucleotides, they are slightly different from the DNA nucleotide. One in the aspect that this pentose sugar, it is ribose, and instead of this thymine here, it is uracil. All other components, they remain the same. Adenine, guanine and cytosine, they remain the same, and this phosphate, it remains the same. RNA molecule, so it may be the straight like messenger RNA, it is a single polynucleotide chain, or in case of transfer RNA, which is going to transport the molecules, so it is having again the foldings are there, and complementary base pairing at the short segments, they are there. So RNA may not be having the helical structure, while the DNA is always having the double helical structure. Another view of transfer RNA. So this is the transfer RNA, which is going to carry amino acid binding at this place at 3' end, and this is the area anticodon, which is going to bind with the messenger RNA. So basically nucleic acid DNA is always a double polynucleotide chain, while the RNA is a single polynucleotide chain. Looking at some of the animated forms of the structure of DNA and RNA. This is one of the DNA strand, the nucleotide, the second strand, so that is going to find its complementary base pairing. Now it is having this segment going there, not finding the complementary, going there, not finding the complementary, here it is going to find the complementary bases. So one strand is running in 3' to 5, other in the opposite direction. So this is the 3' and this is the 5', and other is from this side. In front of 5', this is the 3' end. 3' end means it is the carbon 3 free on this side, and it is carbon 5 free on this side. So guanine is going to make a pair with cytosine, and there are 3 of these hydrogen bonds, they are there. This is one of the basic unit of the nucleic acid, that is called as nucleotide, having this pentose sugar, ribose in case of RNA and deoxyribose in case of DNA. And then this is one of the nitrogen containing base, purines or pyrimidines. Purines having the double ring structure, while the pyrimidines having the single ring structure, and this combination of one purines, pyrimidine and with nitrogen, this single nitrogenous base with pentose sugar, this is not called as nucleotide, this is given the name of nucleoside. So if the only 2 component, one of the nitrogen containing base and pentose sugar is there, the combination is called as nucleoside, till the third component, the phosphate, is going to attach at the 5' end, then this is given the term of nucleotide. And these nucleotides, so they are basic units, and they are going to make very long chain called as polypeptide chain. In case of DNA, so millions of these nucleotides, they are there in one DNA molecules. And the purine, the double ring structure always make a bond with the pyrimidines. So 3 hydrogen bond between guanine and cytosine shown with these green circles, and the 2 hydrogen bond between adenine and thymine shown by these red circles. So this was the structure of the nucleic acid. Going with the functions of nucleic acids, basically genetic fingerprint. Each and every action that is going to occur in the cell, that is controlled by DNA. But DNA is not coming outside the nucleus. It is going to send it message in the form of messenger RNA. Messages are sent. And according to these messages, the specific variety of proteins are made. And then these proteins and enzymes, they are going to carry out the different orders which are given by the DNA. So if we are going to look at the functions of nucleic acids, so the nucleic acids, they are having the genetic instruction set in the form of DNA, but DNA is going to exert its influence through the protein synthesis. DNA making RNA, and the RNA is going to make proteins, and all the energy metabolism in the form of ATP, it also belongs to the category of the nucleotides. So DNA is basically the fingerprints that is inside our body, and you can tell people apart by their fingerprint. With the exception of only identical twins, all of us, we are having the different fingerprints. And why these different fingerprints? Because we are having the different DNA, which is going to make different protein. But we are sharing something common. What is that common? So there is something common in the DNA of all of these molecules. I have shown a diversity of life, but something is common. And what is common? This is the universal genetic code. Triplet of nitrogenous bases in the DNA are going to code for a specific amino acid, and that amino acid is coded in human in all these organisms. So this universal code is shared by all the living organisms. And why we are different? We are different due to different arrangement of nucleotides in the nucleic acid, which provides the key of diversity among living organisms. Okay, so we were discussing that there is something common in all the living organisms. And what was that? Basically, this is the triplet of nitrogenous bases coding for a single amino acid, and that is there present in the molecule of DNA controlling a specific amino acid. And this genetic code which is present, this is there transcribed in the form of message. In terms of messenger RNA, DNA directed synthesis of messenger RNA, that is called as transcription, and triplet of nitrogenous bases complementary to the genetic code present in the messenger RNA, given the terminology of codon. So genetic code in DNA, codon in messenger RNA. And then according to this codon, which is going to attach on the between the two subunit of ribosome, there is a transfer RNA which is going to carry the instruction, and this transfer RNA is again having triplet of nitrogenous bases, and this triplet of nitrogenous bases which is complementary to the codon on the messenger RNA, so that is called as anticodon. So make sure the three terminology: triplet of nitrogenous bases on DNA, genetic code; triplet of nitrogenous bases on messenger RNA, codon; and triplet of nitrogenous bases on transfer RNA called as anticodons. So all of these three are going to code for the same amino acid, and this is the universal code. which we are going to share. Looking at the slides, so this is the sharing of the universal genetic codes. All of we are going to share this genetic code, but the genetic diversity, that why we are different from each other. If we are having the same codes, we are different from each other due to different arrangement of nucleotides in nucleic acid, DNA, providing the key to the diversity among living organisms. So this diversity which is there, this is due to the number and sequence of amino acids in the proteins, determined by the number and sequence of nitrogenous bases present in the genetic code. If we compare the two strands of these nucleic acid, so DNA is made up of double polynucleotide chain, RNA is made up of single polynucleotide chain. DNA is always having double helical structure, RNA is having a single and sometime double helical structure. DNA is produced inside the nucleus, it always remains inside the nucleus. RNA is produced inside the nucleus, but all the three variety, that is the ribosomal RNA, messenger RNA, transfer RNA, they are found in the cytoplasm. The amount of RNA varies from cell to cell and even in the same cell from time to time, while the amount of DNA always remain constant in a cell. RNA is less stable. Once protein synthesis is required, more RNA is produced. Not required, that is going to break away. DNA is more stable. It is produced permanently. RNA is produced temporarily. DNA is concerned with the genetic information, heredity. RNA is concerned with protein synthesis. Dear students, in this program, we discussed about the structure and functions of biological molecules. That is the carbohydrate, proteins, lipids and nucleic acid, which are the foundation stones of the basic building unit, the cell. In our next program, inshallah, we will be studying about the continuity of life, how the life is going to continue. That is about the cell reproduction. Till that time, take care and Allah Hafiz.